Okay, welcome back to the stream. Uh, this stream will probably be pretty short tonight because it's already kind of late. And what I'm going to be working on is trying to make a money system for the game. So rather than having money just get created out of thin air, I want to have like a pool of money, and the money just circulates between different characters and different companies. So right now, let's see, like we can see characters just gain money and lose money, uh, but it's being made out of thin air. Um, like the money isn't coming from any central bank or any source. So when these numbers increment and change, the money's not actually moving anywhere. It's just disappearing and reappearing. And like, for example, here, we have a person with just like a integer to keep track of how much money they have. And when they buy like a product, like they buy some medicine, currently their money integer just decreases, and that money doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't. There's no like transaction. So my current idea is to have like a wallet class, or like a class that just handles storing money and requires a transaction. And basically all money will go through this class. So it'll be a very simple class. It'll only contain an identifier of like who the wallet belongs to, or the identifier for the wallet. Because a person could maybe have multiple wallets. And it'll also have a balance. And this will be read-only. I'm also probably going to use some global functions here. Not going to use the singleton pattern yet for this. And there'll be one like method, and it will take in a wallet to transfer from funds from, and a wallet to transfer funds to, and then the amount. And the transfer might not be successful if the wallet being transferred from doesn't have enough funds. And perhaps there could be other failures in the future. And there should be an overall balance that never changes. So we could also track like some static global variable. So each wallet is initialized with some initial balance, and the total sum of money in the game should never change. It should always be the sum of all wallets' balances. So that could be implemented with using global static variables to keep track of all transactions. Something like this. This is a rough idea. And my goal is to like finish this implementation and then look into refactoring this code. So rather than just like decrementing a variable on the person for like how much money they have, give that person a wallet and start doing like transactional money transfers. And that means that this resource economy, or there needs to be like a company that's ultimately owned by a person. So when this money is when the buyer is losing the money to buy the item, the seller needs to acquire the money. And what that means is there needs to be owners or sellers for this business that can sell medicine. So a district economy class is probably gonna get more complicated because district economy might consist of companies which are ultimately owned by people. So, and a company will probably be able to sell a product, but also have like operating costs, which will be the wages for the employees that they currently employ. So if this all works, everything should be handled by this wallet class. Like all money should move through this, and money shouldn't come out of thin air. So I think a private setter should work here because I don't want anyone else to be able to do this, or any other any code outside of this class to be able to change this value. And for now, I'm just gonna like keep a log of strings of like what happened for debugging purposes. I also want to be able to get the total sum of all wallets in the game balance. So and one easy way to do that is just store a list of wallets. And when a wallet's created, we can add it to this list. So I'm going to update this to just show the total sum of all the wallets right now. And this should never change. So 0 looks correct. But I need to remove this money variable from a person. And instead use a wallet here. So And this method is no longer going to work. So I'm breaking this interface. So all money exchanges are now a transfer between two parties, which means a district economy needs an owner, or it needs a list of shareholders, or other objects that, or other classes that have a wallet as well. So I think for this initial implementation, I'm just going to keep it simple, and when a district economy is created, it also has to have an owner, which will just be a single person for now. In the future, this should be a collection of companies, a company for each resource production type, and a company could potentially have multiple owners, each with a percentage of the 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 stock. So call it owner. And now that we have an owner, this logic can be updated. And I'm not gonna handle failures. Actually, I should handle failures. So let's see what this looks like. Buying food. So if the response was successful, we can transfer the food. And right now I'm only doing this wallet process for money, but it might make sense for resources to also work this way. However, I envision resources coming out of thin air. So like I'm not doing any equivalent exchange for resources. Like food can grow on trees. It literally can. So I'm not worried about having transactional behavior for resources yet. The only transactional thing I want is money, because I don't want the total money to ever fluctuate, but I'm currently happy if like food gets created out of thin air, which makes sense. So I think this is the update right here. If it's successful, transfer the food because the money is transferred here. And this is the old method. So refactoring that wasn't too bad. I'm curious about payment here. So this is really too many if-else statements. I should at some point refactor this to be like based on what is being produced. So we have a separate class for each one of these. But for now, I'm just gonna not worry about that and just focus on changing this to use the wallet for payment. Refactor this to like strategy pattern later. So we're moving money from the owner of this district economy who owns all the resources to the worker who just did a day's work to gather those resources. And if the company or the owner cannot pay the employees, they're out of money, then I guess those people are now out of work and that sector for the resource has shut down. So for now, I'm just going to store this in a Boolean, but this definitely has to get integrated to some larger system. So if the owner fails to pay the employee, this becomes true. And if owner is out of money, we can't do anything. So we only want to do this if the owner is not out of money. And we need to do this code for these other cases. So I'm just going to create a helper method for that. Void I think this will work. So func is like a nice C# thing for like passing functions around that conform to some interface. So this is great if you're too lazy to create an interface for something, which I am right now. But I don't really like using this because it's not as clear and it's not well defined. Like ideally, this is an interface. So I think the last thing to do is just create an owner for each one of these districts and provide it to the constructor. So let's see how we can do that. So at some point, I'm probably gonna refactor a lot of this into like a another class that links all these things together. But for now, to avoid circular dependencies and be able to initialize things, I have these extra methods to like add people to a district. But at some point I'll need like a graph that links everything together. But for now I don't have that. So I'm actually not going to use the constructor for this. And just do this instead. Owner. So this is not great, but there's some like order to create these dependencies. And there's multiple steps to like link all the references together. So I can definitely improve this later. So give them a lot of money to start with. And now I have to tell the district about the owner. And I can do this for the middle district as well. And I also need to add this function here should also add the person to people as well. So they're part of the district and they get updated every loop. And they have to eat food and stuff. So I think everything should work. I'm hoping to see $30,000 as the balance. Yes, and there's also a balance for the players in the simulation. So let's see. This looks good to me. I don't know why the money never changed here. That doesn't look correct. $401 doesn't seem like the start. Ah, it's the average. This actually makes sense. I need to filter out the owner from those equations. So actually, I might turn this off for now. Okay, now it's working as expected. The reason it didn't work before was that value is like the average of everyone in the district, and when you add a person to that district's like simulation list, and they have like a million times more money or thousands of times more money than everyone else, the average isn't going to change much. And in this case, it didn't change at all. And the other thing I'm going to do is just log the transaction history. And to do that easily, I might just create another text field and change it to be right alignment. See what this looks like. Not sure in C# how to combine a list of strings. Let's see if there's an easy way to do that. Actually, this looks a lot better. I forgot to set the inspector variable. Okay. And I only want to print the last 100 logs to the screen. Let's see if we can do that. This looks like a pretty good approach. So now we only see the last 50 logs, which is good. And it looks like the simulation is over because everyone has died. But seems to be working. Because we can see the balance of the wallets is changing, but the total wallet balance does not. So money is being preserved as it is transferred, which is good. So I just need to program everything around this wallet transfer function and have like transactional money transfers. So that's it for this stream. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting. I'm hoping soon, once this like simulation stuff's working and I can do add trading and start doing some like AI stuff, I will start creating a more interesting view of the layout of the districts, so we can see it laid out nicely and have like some UI for buying and selling in each district, and some visualization to see like different people moving between districts and like if they get sick or if they die of hunger. Maybe just like, I'm thinking just circles for now with different colors to indicate state. And then obviously once that's all working, it'll be good to use that as like a simulation for debugging and tweaking, but then I'll start working on incorporating like the 3D, the actual 3D game to use this system, which should look pretty cool. Thanks for watching.